Welcome, people of the World Wide Web. So we are on part two of a documentary, or I got a documentary. So as people, as you may have watched a video, may have not watched a video, I will give you a little summary. So I don't really watch documentaries. I've watched a few in the past. I used to like watching the additional content, but as I'm 4,500 DVDs, like, so it just, I find it so hard to watch some of the stuff. Recently, Phil with Double L did a video, and he had a lady called Lisa Down, and she does these documentary stuff. So this was the first one I picked up. Obviously a big fan of Flash Gordon, so I really wanted to know what was behind the scene. I've also followed a Kickstarter for the Goonies, so I have that to come in the future. So the first one was obviously doing it. I waited until I had time to sit down and watched it. It's only like an hour and a half long. I watched about 40 of the 70 minutes of the bonus content. I didn't watch everything, just it was getting so late, I was getting tired and I didn't want to do anything. And I kind of selectively picked stuff that I liked, which was good. So I say 30 years in the making. Obviously this isn't, I think this might be the first one she's done. She's done a few now, Never Ending Story. Goonies is on the way. The Navigator is the other ones. So I won't go into too much because I don't want to ruin it for people. But yeah, this is, it can be very expensive to get this, and I was very much surprised. So I'm gonna not go to negatively, but go to surprising things. So the documentary is called Life After Flash. So my interpretation of it, that we would have a little bit, this is Flash Gordon, and then we would follow good old Sam on his journey from this. The film isn't structured like that. The documentary isn't structured. The documentary is kind of this way. This is Flash Gordon, you know, this is Flash Gordon, this is Flash Gordon, this is Flash Gordon, this is Flash Gordon, and then in between it's like you have kind of Sam's story kind of cut in between it. Rather than them doing this is Flash Gordon and then just having about him. So they've kind of intermixed it in there, which I was surprised. It wasn't being called Life After Flash. I expected it to be, you know, 90% about Sam and about his life and everything else, and very tiny about Flash Gordon. And it wasn't. It was more a kind of 50-50 mix. I'm not saying that's a bad thing at all. It's just what I interpreted of this. Now, obviously, I did really enjoyed the way it was shot. It was very interesting that Lisa Downs has gone about this. So, I mean, she features stuff, and so obviously being a comic fan of stuff, obviously Flash Gordon became a comic kind of after this. Alex Ross, if anybody knows from the comic industry, are great. He has like an 8-minute, 10-minute extra segment, and he's featuring this, and it's interesting to get his perspective on stuff and what it influenced him. And it was little bits like that that actually made this even better. And the fact that those are bonus content outside of it, I thought was really, really good. It was very interesting for Sam's life to see what he went through, not knowing much about him. Obviously, I'd seen him in Flash Gordon, I've seen him in Ted, and I've seen him in this. I haven't seen him in anything else. It does make me want to see some of his characters. It's good. It has a resurgence, and obviously the impact it had on his life and what he was going through was very interesting to learn that. And I'm glad I have that knowledge, and glad, you know, I know this, and I have this knowledge, and I've experienced that, seeing that literally mostly everyone is alive from the making of this, has been featured in it in places. I think Timothy Dalton, he was the only one that kind of didn't have a clip on this, but they've got more or less everyone else. And obviously hearing like Brian Blessed and how much he likes to talk, which I can imagine. So I think it's I think for the nostalgia fans, this is like a perfect little watch. As I say, this ain't going to be a massively long video, just because I don't want to ruin a lot of stuff that's on here for people. Because if I tell you everything, there's no real point of view then going to buy it, and I want to help support. You know, I mean, the fact she's kind of an independent filmmaker and she makes this sort of stuff, it is great that there's someone out there, someone listens to the fans, what they want. I mean, they've all been crowdfunded. I think they've all been crowdfunded. They've all met their target, you know, and she does little things for the little packs, which is great, you know. And even like she was on Phil with a double L. She was even on his live stream, which is nice that she, you know, putting herself out there and getting into the bigger community. But yeah, definitely a great watch. Glad to have it in there. I mean, I know it's a little bit on the pricing range. I think it was 25-30 quid it paid for this. I mean, it's good that now you can rent it on Amazon and that. I would, being a physical media, glad to have it in the collection because it is something I would revisit. It's possibly something I would necessarily revisit after my next watch of Flash Gordon, or watch some of his other works, and you can kind of get an idea of him and his lifestyle around that. But that has been this little video of watching documentary part 2. Obviously I do have RoboDoc to watch, so that's the next one. Not, I'm saying, massively going to get into documentaries, but there are certain ones. Obviously this was just an enjoyment to get into, and I was glad. Obviously I've got the Goonies coming when that's done. Film was sorted. Obviously I'm doing the Robo documentary with AJ soon, once I finish all the Robot Cup stuff that I've got to watch. So hopefully that'll come I'm hoping end of August if I can get it out. Might be beginning of September. We shall see how we go. But anyway, have you seen this documentary? Are you a supporter of Lisa Downs? I'll try and put links or pictures up to her stuff, so please do go if you're not aware of it. Take a look. Take a look. She's got some YouTube stuff. Go watch that. Otherwise, I've been Cypher Sigma Screen Time. This has been watching a documentary part 2, and I shall see you in the next one.